It is time for part 2 of a daycare Q&A. Hey guys, Sarah here from Work Life Blue, back for part 2 of a daycare Q&A in honor of our 10,000 subscribers, or just about, depending on when this video goes live. But I just wanted to thank you, like I did in the last video, for subscribing if you have. And if you haven't subscribed and liked our daycare and work-life balance related videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We'd love for you to join our glue stick family here on Work Life Blue, and we're just so appreciative for everyone who takes the time to watch our videos. So if you haven't seen the last daycare Q&A, make sure you go watch it. I'll link it below. But basically, in honor of our 10,000 subscribers, or just about, we are doing a Q&A, and we had a ton of daycare related questions, so I split those into 2 videos. The second part is this video, and then we will be coming back for a personal related question Q&A video for you guys. So I'm just gonna jump right in, but before I do, just remember that I'm no expert on daycare. I still have questions myself about a lot of things, but I like to share what I do and start the conversation, and I just like to help you guys and just be a support to you guys, because it is a very isolating career, so I just like to help out when I can. So the first question is, do you find Sam's irregular work schedule helps you out a lot in your daycare business, with him being able to grocery shop and be present at home during the day at times? I'm thinking of opening a daycare in the next year, but my husband will be working traditional hours. The thought of doing everything daycare related by myself is daunting. Okay, so yeah, my husband, Stan, is a sous chef at a hotel, so he, you know, his schedule varies. It's never the same week to week. It's never often the same day to day. Sometimes he'll start at 5 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes he'll start at like noon and work later. It just depends. Sometimes he'll work like 13-hour days. Sometimes he'll go in for like 6 hours. I mean, that's pretty rare, but it does happen occasionally. So typically, I mean, more days than not, I would say he works at about 5 a.m. and then he gets home when the kids are napping. And he will typically go work out then, and then he might start supper or whatever after that. So he's not home a ton during daycare, and he doesn't, I wouldn't say really helps out like with daycare stuff. I mean, occasionally if he's home, has a day off, or gets home early, he'll help me get like the kids ready to go outside if it's the winter time and I have 10 kids and I'm trying to get them all in their gear. He'll help with that. But otherwise, like, it's still mostly me. But as far as like grocery shopping, he does typically do that like on his day off, or he'll go if he gets off early. But yeah, I would say overall, I would, if I got to pick, I would much prefer him to work the same days as I do and have weekends and nights off together, because a lot of times we don't. But you know, we try to make lemonade with our lemons, I guess you could say, and so we try to take advantage of, you know, the times he is off so he can go get groceries or whatever. I think if he worked the same hours as me, we would just like trade off. Like one night after work he would go get groceries one week, and then one night after work I would go get groceries. We can go as a family, it's just with 2 little kids it's a lot easier to go by yourself. I don't know if that really answers the question, but I really can't say what it would be like if he worked traditional hours, but I would prefer to see him more if I could, and while I'm not working. But you know, we take advantage. I think you just will have to find ways to build a routine and try out different things to see what works for your family, maybe tag teaming it and stuff like that. But I don't think everything should be put on your shoulders personally, but you know, the daycare work will, if that's your job, will be your work. But if there's household stuff that you just can't get to, maybe you guys can find a way to balance that out between the 2 of you. When you have older preschoolers who no longer nap, like 4 or 5 years old, and you still want them to have rest or quiet time, how long do you feel is appropriate? So this is really dependent. I personally, the way my house is laid out, the amount of kids I have and everything like that, my policy is that all kids lay down for the same amount of time. They do get books and puzzles and stuff like that if they're older, as long as they can stay quiet with them. And like the summer before school starts, I have the kids like in July, the kids that will be going to school or full day preschool and leaving my program for places that they will not nap. I have them like in July we'll nap 3 days a week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday I'll just let them watch a movie or something. And then in August on Monday, Wednesday, Friday they'll stay awake. So 3 days they'll be awake and 2 days they'll nap and do the same thing. But it's the way my house is laid out and everything, if there's anybody making noise at all, you can hear it. So it really doesn't work for any of the kids to be up. Plus, like, I could not do this job if I didn't get a bit of a break, and it's not really a break because I'm working on daycare stuff almost the whole time, every time. So I don't know. So the kids lay down. Do they always all nap the whole time? No, but they stay quiet. I'm just really strict about it. But if a parent said, like, I don't want my kid to nap anymore, I'll either say, like, sorry, can't do that, or I'll be like, this is why they still should, depending on their age. But it's just not an option with my program. I don't force them to sleep, but I do make sure they're laying down and quiet for their friends. But they do have things they can do during that time. So hopefully that answers that. What do you do if one of your daycare kiddos wakes up early before everyone else? Do you let them get up or give them quiet toys until everyone wakes up? They, like I said, have books and puzzles and things like that that they can do. Most of them sleep hard, but if they wake up early, they know they have to stay quiet. It just doesn't work for me to like get them up and the other kids, like everybody will hear it. So in respect for those who do need a nap, the other ones just quietly will lay down and do their stuff quietly while the other kids continue their nap. I have a question about your time off when you or your little one gets sick, like for doctor's appointments, vaccinations, or you just need to take time off. How do you manage those things? That's a good question. That is a hard thing. I take 15 paid vacation days a year, and I take 9 paid holidays. So that may be a lot for some areas, but that's, you know, it's on the higher end, but still pretty typical for my area. So I try to schedule appointments and stuff like that on my days off or after hours, like the dentist. We found a dentist that does later days once a week, so we do that for the dentist. For my girls, for doctor's appointments, either I will take them on a day off or my husband will take them, and he'll like adjust his work schedule for that. And then like haircuts and stuff like that, it's all after hours or on days off. But I try to not make every day off an appointment day, because the whole point of days off is to, like, you know, be recharging and stuff like that, and, you know, spending time with my family and stuff like that. So I, you know, try to balance it. But, you know, sometimes things go longer than they should. Like going to the dentist took a lot longer than it should because it is hard to find the time. But if my little ones are sick, I close. And I also, like when I was pregnant, I had my, you know, very often doctor's appointments, I would get a substitute, because we have those in our areas, of licensed providers who, instead of having daycare in their homes anymore, they go to daycare providers' homes and they're licensed and everything. But if that's not an option, maybe your spouse or a stay-at-home mom or something, you could like work out a plan depending on the rules of your area. But that's another option, to have them come to your house to watch the kids while you go. Okay, difficult, strong-willed children. How do you handle them at daycare when they know they're misbehaving but choose to not listen? Oh, this is, for me, it really depends on the child, the age, and whatnot. I would say my biggest perpetrator for this is my own child, because they are always harder for their parents than they are for other people. I have dealt with this. You know, I usually work with the parents and see what works at home. I will do timeouts. I do 1, 2, 3 magic, which you guys could read the book on it, but basically you just say that's 1, that's 2, and if they do it again, that's 3, and you take the toy away, or you put them in timeout, or you whatever. So like if they're, I don't know, it really depends. I don't have like a one size fits all, because it really depends on so many different factors. But you know, if it's a huge issue, I might, if the parents aren't willing to work with me, I might terminate care. But in general, I mean, there are times when the kids push the boundaries, and I, you know, try to be really strict and consistent. But you know, some kids really will push you, And, you know, trying to find ways to bond with them as well, I think is important, so it's not just negative. So I try to build that in when they are listening, like praising them and encouraging them and trying to sit with them and like do a puzzle or something just to show you do care about them, and then they're more willing to listen, I guess. But that's a hard one because it just really depends on many factors. How do you deal with parents who like to linger? I don't have that problem too much. I think like if the kid was getting emotional because a parent was sticking around too long, I would probably just tell them, or like tell them after hours or text them and just say, you know, it seems like it's helpful to stick around when your kid is upset, but actually like the second you leave, they're fine, or within 5 minutes they've calmed down. So it'd really be helpful, and you're not neglecting your child if you just give them a quick kiss and go. I think sometimes parents need that permission because they feel like if their kid's crying or upset, like they don't want to just like hand them off to you, and they feel really bad for their child, but it really is easier to just like get them out so that you can calm them down, because a lot of it's for attention from the parent. But if they just like to linger and talk, I don't mind that so much after, like when they're picking up, if they're like picking up at like a reasonable time, not the very end of my day, because I like adult conversation. But I would just be open with the parents, or if like you have to get back to the kids, I would just say, okay, have a good day, bye, and like, you know, turn your back and go deal with the other kids, because that's your job. That's what you're getting paid from the parents to do, not talk to people. So I don't know, those are the things I would try. What do you do to keep yourself going through the day? By the end of the day, I'm so tired. All I want to do is sit. I don't know. I try to, you know, do something during nap that fills me up in some way, or I try to build in one nap time where I'm like working on things that I want to work on instead of things like I have to get done. And I do try to like schedule catch-up days where I don't like have much planned with the kids. They can just kind of play, or we can go with the flow, play outside. I don't have like an activity to set up per se, or we just do something really easy like my sensory bins that are all ready to go, so that it's not such a hard day. But I don't know. I think I just am really used to the pace. I mean, I am tired by the end of the day, but I think, I don't know, just building in time to recoup, I guess, is important. Well, this one woke up early from her nap, so she's gonna be visiting. Can you say hi, Bryony? Say hi. Where was I? How do you handle difficult kids at drop-offs or pickups? Like I said, try to get the parents to leave right away for drop-offs. I have dealt with this where the kid's really emotional, or, you know, doesn't listen very well to parents. I'm like, you just go. It's too many people with authority and the kid's testing, so it's better to just have me take over. At drop-offs or pickups, I will usually, you know, if the kid's being really rude to their parents, I might talk to them. Otherwise, I usually just let the parents handle it and walk away, because like I said, it's too many people with authority. And usually they just quickly get them out the door. I will also try, if a kid's really like won't put their shoes on for the parents, I'll have the parents text me when they're close, and I'll get the kid ready so they can just like grab them and go. But yeah, that's normally the things I do for that kind of stuff. Have you ever had to increase your prices at daycare? How did that go, and how much notice did you give? For me, when parents enroll with me, at least right now, what I do is their rate will never go up. It just stays the same while they're with me. That's for that child. So if they have another child, my rate might be higher. But while that child is enrolled, the rate will never go up. I do this for many reasons. It's nice for the parents to know what the income, or how much they'll be paying for the rest of the time they're with me. And I also hate dealing with the money part of the business. Like, it's just, I don't like to talk about it and that kind of stuff. So it's just nice to not have to ever raise my rates. And so the only time I ever have like a financial discussion is usually when a family is starting, and I'm like, this is your rate. So I only increase my rates for new families or new children. So I can't really answer this because it's not something I do, but I would try to give plenty of notice if that were the case. Like a couple months I would probably do. That's just me though. How do you handle parents telling you at the door about a shortened day that week or a shortened week that week? I have this happen a lot. In most cases, it's not a big deal. If it were like going to interrupt nap or something, I'll just tell them, you know, please next time let me know that in advance so we can set up a plan. But you know, most of my parents tell me like, oh yeah, they're not gonna be here the next 3 days or something. Would it be nice to know ahead of time? Yeah, but things happen and I make adjustments as needed. I normally just write it down, and I tell them I have to write it down because I will not remember otherwise with all the hustle and bustle of pickups and drop-offs and all that kind of stuff. But to me, it's not a big deal, and if it was, I would just try to talk to them about it. And I have a couple families who give me schedules up front, which is really nice, so you could just require that, but it's hard to follow through with, because then what if a parent doesn't and it's your policy that they do? Do you say, nope, your kid has to come, or I don't know. It's just kind of a tricky situation, but you know, hopefully they'll be respectful of you if it is bothering your schedule or something, if you sit down and talk with them. How do you manage with your strong-willed child and the other daycare kids? Great question, and I am still trying to figure this out. I've learned a lot of tricks with her, but some days I'm just like, who is this kid? I'm gonna do a whole video on this topic of tips and stuff, but I'm still trying to figure out what works for her. And I mean, we have lots of different issues that we deal with during daycare. She is a much easier child after daycare hours, so I know for her daycare can be hard. I don't think it's an attention thing with her. I think it's a power thing. I think she feels like it's her house, so she has the power and she wants control over things. She wants to play with what she wants to play with. Even though I work really hard to have separate daycare toys than her toys, it still happens. And I think sometimes she just like thinks she's the boss because I'm her mom, and she thinks she's like my helper. So I mean, that is one way, is have her help. I try to keep her with me. Like if I need to go to the bathroom, I have her sit outside the door, come in with me, so she can't get into any shenanigans. If she's really having a rough day, I separate her. We have like a gated area by the bathroom that I can still see her, but she can't get into anything, and she's not around the kids if she just needs a break. And that bench over by the bathroom is also her like calm down area. She keeps her pillow on it. If she needs a few minutes alone, that's her spot to go. But yeah, it's really difficult, and every kid has different things that set them off and different issues. But I try to let her have some space. I try to give her opportunities to get away. And I try to build in some special time with her before nap. I lay all the kids down, and then I lay her down after that. And I read her a book and sing to her, and we sometimes talk about our day, because I think it's really important to give them a little bit more attention, because you are dividing your attention with all these other kids that aren't your kids, and they see that, and it can be hard. So that's what we do. And now that she's getting older, we talk about, you know, why mama does daycare, and I think she truly does like it. It's just, you know, it is hard at 3 years old to figure out, like, why do I have certain rules during daycare? Why is my mom talking to all these kids? And why can't I just have whatever toy I want because it's my house? You know, those are hard things to figure out. Does it get really frustrating when it's your job and you're dealing with these issues with your own kids? Yes, but at the end of the day, like, it's the main reason why I started doing daycare was to be with my kids. So yeah, and I think just having other providers to vent to can help, because sometimes I'm just like, I know what to do with her, it's gonna take time, but oh my gosh, I just need to vent, because it can be really hard. And we are gonna be doing preschool with her in the fall, so she will be going to preschool a couple mornings a week. Not because I think she needs it, like educationally, because she's learning everything she could ever possibly need at daycare, but more so just to have some control, like go have her own friends and go be a big girl and ride the bus and that kind of thing, and have her own experiences, and to be apart from each other once in a while, because even though she's a mama's girl, we're both type A, and so we butt heads a lot. I think it's just the nature of our personalities, because she's a little mini me and she wants control and I want control, and so it can be really difficult. But I love her to pieces, and it's a learning experience. And then last question, how often do you close? Is it 1 day a month? So it really depends. I try to for sure have at least 1 day off a month, whether it's paid or unpaid. I don't have a limit to how many days I can take off, but like I said, I do 15 paid vacation days throughout the year, and then I have some unpaid days sprinkled in there, and then 9 paid holidays. So I try to give the parents the calendar for the whole year in like November or December of the year before. So all the parents received 2018 days off at the end of 2017, so they can plan accordingly, because I don't want parents to have to pay 2 people, so they can find family or take PTO or plan their own vacation when mine is, that kind of thing. And it typically works out pretty well. So that's what I do. I think it's important for me personally to have at least 1 day off a month just to plan things or have time with my family so I don't burn out, right? We don't want that. Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for those of you who have subscribed and contributed to the 10,000 subscribers. We just feel so grateful, don't we, Bryony?
Hey.
Yeah. Make sure you come back on Tuesday for all the personal questions. And let me know, guys. So my question for you at the end of this Q&A for me is, what daycare videos do you want? I mean, I answered a lot of questions. What things do you want me to go more in depth on? Do you want me to do more recipes, more like kid activities, more like people ask a question and, sorry, book, and I answer it more in depth? Like, what do you guys want? I'm here for you. So I want to know what you guys want for my daycare day videos. I have so many ideas, but they're not worth putting out there if it's not what you guys want. So let me know if you have any suggestions, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.